In this video, we're going to talk about the PowerShell Universal version 5 portal. A portal is a way to present resources to your users without having them go to the admin console. You can simply assign resources roles, and those roles will then appear on the portal. You can search the portal, you can use tags to group resources together in the portal, and then you can present those to your users. In my example environment here, you can see that I have two resources assigned. One is an app, and if I click that, it's actually going to open the PowerShell Universal app. It's the same way that you would see the app currently in PowerShell Universal version 5, except this gives you a nice place to assign that resource and link it out to your user. Additionally, this user also has a script assigned. When you click open on this script, it's actually going to display some information about the script. If it had parameters, they'd show up here. Any kind of descriptions would show up here. And then the user can just click the run button to run that script. This script just calls get service, and as you can see, it returned a list of services that are currently running on my machine. There's no need to go to the admin console and dig through the different menu options. You simply have a services pane where you can search for your services and open those services. Additionally, any history of scripts will show up inside this history tab for users to go back and see what they did in the portal. So if we actually go to the admin console to see how this is configured, we'll look at a couple things. First, scripts now have a portal tab here that has some additional options about the script. So first is a role to assign. So all users with the administrator role will see this script in their portal. Additionally, there's a portal output type. I have it set to text. You could also have it set to none. As the portal is still kind of in preview, we'll be adding more output types in the future, such as tables, to allow users to actually see it in less of a console and more of a table view inside the portal. In terms of the app, nothing really changed there, except that I've assigned this app to the administrator role, and that's why it appears in the portal. One thing you'll notice underneath the menu now is the portal menu item. Underneath there, you're going to see several different things. One is a link to view the portal, so that's just going to open the portal for you. Another is the resources tab. What this is going to show you are all the resources that are currently assigned to the portal. This kind of gives you an overview, even if you are not part of the group, but you have the ability to manage resources inside PowerShell Universal, you're going to see that show up inside this portal resources list, just as an easy way to see what is exactly being shown in the portal. Next, we have a couple new features that kind of were built off our development of the PowerShell Universal admin console, which is now built in Blazor. So first of all, we have widgets, and widgets are little components that you can add to pages, which are portal pages, and widgets are developed with a Blazor syntax that we call PS Blazor and PowerShell. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create a simple portal page to demonstrate how these work and kind of the benefits of this new widget and portal page system. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new portal page. So I will just call this portal page and make sure it's authenticated and assign a role to it and click OK. So what that does is it actually creates a page that's pretty much blank inside the portal. You can see here's the portal layout, and we have this little edit button that allows us to do things with this portal page. If I click add widget, right now you're not going to see anything in here because I have not added any widgets to this environment. One of the other features of PowerShell Universal v5 are what we call the script library, and the script library is actually included with PowerShell Universal. There's no internet connection needed to do this. We actually effectively clone this repository into the installation media for PowerShell Universal, so it gives you some built-in things you can do without having to write any code. And some of the things that we've included are widgets. So I'm going to look for the local account widget. You can actually switch this, or I thought you could. It's a beta. Am I blind? Oh, there it is. So then we can import this local account widgets module into our environment. So if I click that, what it's actually going to do is save that module into the modules directory inside our repository. Now that that's saved, what you'll actually see is if you go to modules here and you go to repository modules, see this module is now saved directly into my universal repository, and because of that, it's providing some resources to my universal environment. So if I go to the portal and click widgets now, you're going to see that I have 3 widgets that are provided by that local accounts widgets module. We have a local users, local groups, and a new local user form. So now if I go back to my page, what I can do is if I click view, edit, you're going to see this little blue thing show up and the add widget button. And now we have access to some additional widgets that we can add to our form or our page. So what I'm going to do is add the local users widget. So when I add the local users widget, you can see that I get this local users table that shows all the current users of this machine, user accounts, and whether they're enabled, a description, that kind of thing. So if I click save now, it effectively saves this particular page, and the local user widget is now accessible to users that have access to this page. I didn't have to write any code or anything. I just kind of clicked around to get this widget added. Now, what's cool about this whole system is that these widgets themselves are actually built with what we call PS Blazor and PowerShell. So if you actually go into this modules directory, you can actually look at the code for this particular widget. So if I actually go to portal widgets and let's look at the local users one, this is the definition of that table. As you can see, it has just a kind of a table definition and 3 column definitions. Each one of these are the different columns that we saw in the page, and whether or not they're sortable. There's a whole bunch of properties that you can set for these Razor components. And then you'll see what's special about this is the data source. So the data source is a PowerShell variable that we're passing in to actually populate the data in this table. So we actually go look at the PSM1 file that defines the kind of the interactability and data retrieval based on a PowerShell script. This is how that is accomplished. We have a variables hash table that you can set variables to, and then you can call commandlets to populate those variables, and then you can use those variables in your Razor syntax to actually do things like populate this table or display text, set properties of things like alerts to either an error or a success, that kind of thing. So we're going to actually step through creating one of these widgets ourselves because we actually have a widget editor that is built into PowerShell Universal now. Now that we've added our kind of built-in widgets to the page, let's look at how we can create a custom widget. So while this isn't necessary, this is a way to kind of extend the platform and create custom UI elements that you can add to the portal pages just by clicking. So this is also kind of cool because all of our portal widgets are open source. So if you do kind of generate some general purpose widgets, you can actually contribute those back to our scripts repository, which will then show up in the PowerShell Universal library when we do new releases of the library. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new portal widget. It's just going to be a simple button that we can click, and I'll click OK. And now we've created this portal widget. If I actually click this edit code button, it's going to take me to the widget editor. So as you can see, we kind of have a blank canvas here. We have properties. You can actually create parameters for your widgets. So if you want to allow users to customize the widgets, set certain colors or maybe a domain that you use to do certain lookups, that kind of thing is what you would put in the properties. And then we have this code button that's actually going to open the code editor for us to allow us to customize the widget. The Razor tab is for customizing how the widget looks. So this uses the PS Blazor syntax, and you actually can use all the same components the admin console uses. We do also offer some additional components to kind of make it easier to use inside PS Blazor. And as we develop this particular feature, we're going to be adding even more components that you can probably use inside your widget editor, including charts. So I'm just going to add a button to this, and it's a simple button. It has an on-click handler that will be called, which is just a PowerShell function, which we'll see in a sec. And then it's going to use a clicked variable from the PowerShell script to actually adjust what the button text looks like. So if I create this right now, you'll see that we have a button. It just has $clicked because there is no $clicked function or variable defined. So if we go back to our code and go to our PowerShell tab, what I'm actually going to add is the PowerShell script. And the first line here, what it does is it actually sets that clicked variable. So you can see clicked is now not clicked, and then we have a function on clicked. If we click this button, it's going to call this function. It's going to pop up a little success message, and then the variable will be updated to clicked. I'm just going to refresh this, and this isn't saving for some reason. Let's try that again. There we go. So now we have a not clicked value inside our button. That came when we first loaded the module for this widget. And if we click that, you can see clicked shows at the top here, and the button has now changed to clicked. So what happened was it called this function. We called our message service, which we have several services for doing things like showing messages like this, invoking JavaScript and navigation and that kind of thing. And then we updated the variable to clicked from not clicked. So as you can see, this is very much still in preview. PowerShell Universal v5 is in release candidate right now. We will be shipping the widget editor and the portal pages and kind of the portal itself as a preview feature. So we want users to kind of play around with it, see if it's useful to them, and if it's something that you like and you want to see us continue to improve, definitely provide us with feedback, open bugs on our GitHub issue tracker, or comment on the forums would be very helpful. Thanks.